Her Majesty's 42nd, the Royal Highland Regiment of Foot. This is one of the most famous infantry battalions of the British Army, and we will discuss the battalion's conduct in 1857-59 battles. The battalion arrived at Calcutta on 1st November 1857. This meant that it missed all three decisive battles of the war, foremost the siege of Delhi and the relatively smaller and less decisive relief of Lucknow and evacuation of Lucknow. The battalion's participation in the Battle of Kanpur was token, as it was not really involved in serious action and suffered nil casualties. As you can see, this is the Battle of Kanpur of December 1857, and as you can see, 42nd Foot's performance was marginal because it was never seriously employed in the Battle of Kanpur. As you can see, the battalion played a significant part in the final assault on Lucknow in March 1858. It led the assault on Martinere with 4th Punjab Infantry, while 93rd Highlanders and 90th Foot attacked Martinere frontally. Note that these were minor affairs because the British had overwhelming superiority in artillery as well as infantry. The important point to be noted is that British Company enjoyed overwhelming massive superiority in artillery, and this is proven by the fact that 42nd Highlanders suffered puny 10 fatal casualties in the entire operations spanning 10 days involving the final capture of Lucknow. Note that 42nd Highlanders overran the first rebel defense line based on Ghazi-ud-Din Haider Canal without any rebel opposition because the company's heavy artillery deployed north of Gomti River brought devastatingly lethal fire on the rebels, who simply fled well before the 42nd Highlanders actually attacked the defense line. As you can see, 42nd Highlanders' role in the final attack on Lucknow. As you can see, 42nd Highlanders is on the far right. They were grouped with the 4th Punjab Infantry, now known as 9FF. They attacked La Martinere and then they outflanked the rebel defenses from the north, as you can see, and then finally they attacked this area, as you can see, Sarai and the Begum Koti. But these were minor affairs, no serious fighting. The battalion was part of Walpole's column sent to take part in the Rohilkhand campaign. As you can see, they were sent from Lucknow to Rohilkhand and they marched like this. As you can see, Lucknow, Maliabad, Sandila, Roya, where they suffered heavily because of British stupidity, and then finally to Rohilkhand. They were sent to Rohilkhand as part of Walpole's divisions, and Walpole was the most incompetent and pathetic British general of the 1857-59 battles. He was there because of push and pull and was a total failure as far as actual performance in the field was concerned. Now the 4th column was to cross the Ganges from the Roorkee side and was to ensure that no sepoys escaped west of Bareilly. Theoretically, in 1858, the British situation was excellent and all should have proceeded like clockwork, but the British had one very gifted general by the name of Walpole, a thorough letdown, but well connected. He left Lucknow with his column on 7th April 1858. All proceeded well till this outstanding general arrived at a small fort, Ruia, about 51 miles southwest of Lucknow on 15th April 1858. Walpole was told by his spies that the Talukdar Nirpat Singh, a Hindu Rajput Talukdar, like so many in Awadh, was occupying the fort and had no intention of opposing the British, but only wanted, by putting up a token resistance, to preserve appearances and to save his honor. Walpole, being a highly idiotic person, refused to believe this and decided to assault the fort without bothering to carry out any type of reconnaissance of the fort. Subsequently, it was discovered that the rear wall of the fort, in contrast with the front wall, was so low that even a child could climb it. Now, Walpole's frontal assault on the front wall failed, with a casualty figure of over 100 killed and wounded, including a very promising officer by the name of Colonel Adrian Hope. 42nd Highlanders suffered the heaviest fatal casualties in all the battles of 1857-59 at Ruia because they were led by an incompetent and irresolute officer, Walpole. The battalion lost 18 killed at Ruia, whereas in the entire capture of Lucknow, it had lost only 10 killed. Walpole, being well connected, emerged with a good reputation, as the world always moves. While Walpole was planning a future assault, Nirpat Singh abandoned the fort during the night with his entire force. Walpole, being well connected, rose to the rank of lieutenant general, and this blunder is nowhere discussed in any reputable British military publication. 42nd Highlanders and 4th Punjabis, now 9FF, were losing heavily, in fact being shot down like rabbits. This is the description by late Colonel Gordon Alexander in his memoirs titled Recollections of a Highland Subaltern. And as this officer noted, about 12:30 we received orders to form in columns of battalions still further to the rear, pile arms and let the men have their dinners. Accordingly, the men's cooking utensils were unloaded and the native cooks proceeded to cook the men's dinner and serve it out to them about 1:30. Now, during all this time, as this officer wrote in his memoirs, all of this time we knew nothing of the tragedy that was being enacted in that ditch not a quarter of a mile off, when attempts were then made by the 42nd Highlanders to send their two companies their dinners. However, it began to be whispered about that they and the 4th Punjabis were losing heavily, in fact being shot down like rabbits. Now, this is the direct participant company commander of Her Majesty's 93rd Highlanders, W. Gordon Alexander, describing Brigadier Robert Walpole's irresolute conduct at Ruia. This is the sketch of the fort. Brigadier General Walpole approaches a weak mud fort with high northern and eastern walls and low rear walls which could be climbed without a ladder on 15th April 1858, and then he tasks 42nd Highlander and the 4th Punjab Infantry to attack this fort frontally. Although he was told that the fort's defender Raja Nirpat Singh wanted to surrender. Still, this character, this highly idiotic character, he decided to attack the fort. Brigadier General Walpole sends 4th Punjab Infantry to support the two companies of 42nd Highlanders from their left, and then forgets about the life and fate of his troops launched in a jungle against a fort without recce. And then he orders lunch to be served to the other troops. As you can see, there was 93rd Highlanders, 79 Highlanders, 2 horse artillery batteries, a heavy battery of 8-inch guns. Now, these poor people, 42nd Highlanders, 2 companies, and 4th Punjab's infantry are tasked to attack Ruia frontally, which was a total failure. This is the typical British Indian tradition. As you can see, these stupid attacks have been repeated countlessly in the Pakistani military history by the 23 Division on 4th and 5th December, and at Badapend, where 3 tank regiments were miserable failures. This is stupidity. It has got nothing to do with anything else other than stupidity. Now, as you can see, in this death trap, as a direct participant is describing, the Highlander Company commander describing in his book, in this death trap, the 42nd Highlanders lost 2 officers and 7 men killed, and 2 officers and 31 men wounded, and the 4th Punjabis, now 9FF, 1 officer and 46 men killed and wounded, all shot down like dogs at 20 or 30 paces distance. This is the description of the massacre of 2 companies of 42nd Highlanders and the 4th Punjab Infantry by matchlock men of the Rajput Raja Nirpat Singh by 93rd Highlanders Company commander in his book. Now, the bravest British brigade commander, Colonel Adrian Hope, is shot by a sniper, but well-connected Walpole does not move an inch. Now, on hearing of this disaster, the commanding officer of the Highland Brigade, Adrian Hope, rushed towards his men near the fort's walls and is shot by a sniper, and soon afterwards he dies. Brigadier Walpole loses his nerve and orders the force to retire and orders meals to be served. Look at the callousness of this character. Orders meals to be cooked, and without bothering to send help to the force massacred near the fort walls. As you can see, the bravest brigade commander Adrian Hope rushes to the front and is shot by a sniper. 2 companies of 42nd Highlanders are trapped inside this water moat along with 4th Punjab Infantry complete and suffer heavy casualties. But this character, this British company, British brigade force commander Walpole, well-connected Royal Army officer, only Royal Army officers could be so damn incompetent. He orders lunch to be cooked. Look at the callousness. As you can see, Brigadier Walpole orders a cowardly withdrawal instead of making any attempt to help his advance guard, severely mauled at the fort walls. Now, after we retired as Sergeant William Forbes, Michael of Her Majesty's 93rd Highlanders described, after we retired from the fort, the excitement was so great among the men of the 42nd and 93rd, owing to the sacrifice of so many officers and men through their mismanagement, that if the officers had given the men the least encouragement, I am convinced that they would have turned out in a body and hanged General Walpole, the force commander. Such a disgraceful man. Brigadier Walpole orders withdrawal of his force instead of making any attempt to help two companies of Her Majesty's 42nd Highlanders, a very famous British battalion also known as Black Watch, and the 4th Punjab Infantry, now 9FF. Just see the two companies of 42nd Highlanders and 4th Punjab Infantry withdraw in great disorder after having suffered massive casualties, as you can see, and this character orders lunch to be cooked. Interestingly, this fort was evacuated by Raja Nirpat Singh during the night. Tevender, the British writer who can be fatally misleading, placed fatal casualties of Her Majesty's 42nd Fort at Ruya at 18 killed, which is a huge number. However, reconciled with Her Majesty's 42nd Foot regimental records and the history, the fatal loss was not 18 killed but 15 killed. 3 of the soldiers Tevender listed at Ruya were actually killed at Nagra on 15 January 1859. Now, as you can see, Major General Penny in the meantime was killed in night ambush at Kakrala, and General Colin Campbell junctions with Colonel Seaton, Brigadier Walpole and deceased Penny's column, now commanded by Colonel Jones, April-May 1858. As you can see, this is the Roya column. As you can see, Brigadier Walpole, that thoroughly incompetent character, and he via Shah Jahanpur links with the main British columns. As you can see, first they link up at Alaganj with Colin Campbell, and then with the other column of deceased Major General Penny, the senior most British officer killed in 1857 battles at Fatehganj, Sharki, as you can see, and then they advanced towards Faridpur and Bareilly. The battalion was part of the skirmish at Bareilly, which was a Mickey Mouse affair. Now, this battalion took part in the attack on Bareilly, which was a Mickey Mouse affair. As you can see, the Ghazis attack 4th Punjab Infantry holding cavalry lines, 4th Punjab Infantry occupying cavalry lines, now 9FF. Her Majesty's 42nd Highlanders is ordered to support 4th Punjab Infantry, as you can see, and they advance and support this battalion with whom they were closely linked as a sister battalion. One man of Tevender, frequently unreliable accounts is to be believed, was killed at Bareilly on 5th May 1858, and the second later died of wounds received in Bareilly on 6th May 1858. As you can see, this was a Mickey Mouse affair. The next significant action in 42nd Highlanders history was an action at Sarda River, where 42nd Highlanders again faced the infamous Raja Nirpat Singh of Ruya Fort, now running away towards Nepal. The 42nd Highlanders was now posted to Bareilly Brigade, and on 5th June 1858, one wing under Lieutenant Colonel Wilkinson was detached to Muradabad. In October 1858, the battalion headquarters and left wing marched to Pilibhit, and in November took up a position on the banks of the Sarda River to prevent the rebels from crossing from Awadh into Rohilkhand. So this was the grand British plan of the company, now taken over by the British government. Walpole's Sarda cordon comprised 2 columns commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Wilkinson and Lieutenant Colonel Smith. So there were 2 columns, in the north Colonel Smith and in the south Colonel Wilkinson. They were supposed to cordon Sarda River on the Nepal border, flowing from Nepal to India, British ruled India, and on the western bank. As you can see, this is how the left wing of 42nd Highlanders is deployed to cordon Awadh Rohilkhand border along Sardar river and area from Madhutanda till Nagra with the wing of 2nd Punjab Cavalry, now a great battalion of the army, 12th Cavalry, also known as the Sam Browne Cavalry. Now this is the cordon, and this character Nirpat Singh is running away from Awadh into Nepal along the eastern bank of the Sardar river, which we will see, and this force has been deployed to cordon the western bank of Sardar river. Idea is not to allow him to escape into Nepal or into Rohilkhand. As you can see, now Nirpat Singh is killed, Roya avenged, but Indian battery and cavalry unit which played key role relegated to IUM 3rd class. Now Indian officer order of merit 3rd class was given to the Sam Browne cavalry and the Indian battery, and the British units are given Victoria Cross. As you can see, this character Nirpat Singh was escaping in this dashed line, pursued by Colonel Dennis, as you can see, and Colonel Smith and his other force was having this cordon. And this character was trapped at Nagra and the force destroyed. As you can see, Rennie's Indian Horse Artillery, a historic unit which remained loyal to the British, also known as Shah Shuja troop. My maternal grandfather's ancestors were part of this troop, and sadly this was transferred to the British Army after the rebellion and still is a part of the British artillery, the Royal Artillery. Now 2nd Punjab Cavalry and 42nd Highlanders Company defeat and kill Raja Nirpat Singh of Roya. 2nd Punjab Cavalry, who lose 5 killed, receive only Indian Order of Merit 3rd class, while 42nd Highlanders, who lose only 4 killed, receive 2 Victoria Crosses, although as per the British historian of 2nd Punjab Cavalry history published in 1886, Rasaidar Haqdat Khan of 2nd Punjab Cavalry had initially rallied parts of this 42nd Highlanders Black Watch Company, which was scattered. 42nd Highlanders history acknowledged sacrifice of 2nd Punjab Cavalry killed in its history, but did not bother to name the unit, typical the British selfishness. There was a survey in Times in 1998, and it was agreed by Times that the British are the most selfish nation in the world. And this part from military history clearly proves it. As you can see, Nirpat Singh was driven by Colonel Dennis into this area, as you can see, and he is destroyed in the Battle of Nagra. Now Khairgarh forest to Sisia, Nagra forest, Raja Nirpat Singh's death march traced and depicted. As you can see, this is a totally hand-drawn custom map. Raja Nirpat Singh started from Khairgarh forest, as you can see, and came all along to Nagra, where he ran into this cordon and was destroyed. Raja Nirpat Singh was old and crippled and wanted to secretly make peace with the company as per his secret message to Kavanagh, serving as civil servant in Awadh. He pleaded that he was in hands of the rebels troops. His messages were ignored by Walpole, leading to the company's reverse at Roya, and Nirpat Singh was left with no choice but to stay with the rebels. This map based on many years research depicts approximate route of Raja Nirpat Singh from where he crossed into Rohilkhand forest on 15 January 1859. Her Majesty's 42nd Highlanders, which was rallied by Rasaidar Haqdad of 12th Cavalry, 2nd Punjab Cavalry, then known as per the British historian of the 2nd Punjab Cavalry, Sam Browne Cavalry, in 1866 account, which lost 5 men killed, was awarded a puny Indian Order of Merit, 3rd class, while 42nd Highlanders Black Watch, which lost only 4 men killed, was awarded with 2 Victoria Crosses. This is the gross injustice. As you can see, this battle took place at Nagra, Melaghat, and also it is shocking to note that British George Cross and Victoria Cross Association was so incompetent that they placed this place Melaghat 160 miles east. Just imagine the incompetence of the British Victoria Cross and George Cross Association. Just imagine. They are so damn incompetent. And yet, they claim so many things, Now, 12 Cavalry at Nagra on 15 January 1859. Deployment of left wing of 4th and 5th Troop of 2nd Punjab Cavalry under Lieutenant Lance, originally 55 Bengal Native Infantry, and attached from 18th May 1858. On the fateful 15 January 1859, when Raja Nirpat Singh crossed Sardar River and attacked Pickwick of 2nd Punjab Cavalry, 42nd Highlanders, and Kumo Levy, later 2nd Gorkhas. As you can see, this is the deployment. These are the 2 troops of the Sam Browne Cavalry, 4th and 5th troops, and this is the Pickwick of 2nd Punjab Cavalry, 20 men of 42nd Highlanders and 20 men of Kumo Levy. As you can see, the battle took place here, a harsh battle, and Raja Nirpat Singh, evading his pursuer, Colonel Dennis, he crosses at Melaghat, again crosses the Saninda Nala at Nagra, and is confronted by, as you can see, Black Watch and 12th Cavalry. And the British counter attack, as you can see, Colonel Smith, Bengal Horse Artillery, which never had any Bengalis, arrives from Babusa with 2 guns, 5th Troop, 1st Brigade Bengal Horse Artillery, and 1 troop of 2nd Punjab Cavalry at 1200 hours 15 January. As you can see, he arrives from Babusa, and Raja Nirpat Singh is cordoned. As you can see, Smith arrives 1200 hours. In the south is 2nd Punjab Cavalry, 12th Cavalry, and part of 42nd Highlanders. And this is the Pickwick in the north, 2nd Punjab Cavalry, 42nd Highlanders, and Kumo Levy. As you can see, operationally crisis developed as Raja Nirpat Singh attacks British Pickwick of 2nd Punjab Cavalry, later Sam Browne's Kumo Levy, later 2nd Gorkha, and 42nd Highlanders Black Watch at 1500 hours 15 January 1859. As you can see, the operational crisis. Now, Walpole's plan was to wait for 2 companies of 42nd Highlanders marching from Madhu Tanda and only then launch attack on Raja Nirpat Singh, unless Nirpat attacked the isolated picket in his rear. Now Walpole is left with no choice but to break through Nirpat Singh's main line and save his isolated picket. As you can see, this picket in the north is isolated by Nirpat Singh, and Walpole is left with no choice but to break through Raja Nirpat Singh's line and save his picket. as you can see. Pickett is in the north and Walpole's main force is in the south, as you can see. Now, the bias was not European versus Indian, but anti-British companies, private army versus the pro-British army companies, soldiers who suffered more than double the fatal casualties in the attack at Nagra, including the only officer killed, are relegated to secondary players in Walpole's dispatch. He is a thoroughly biased character, and as you can see, the counterattack breaks through Nirpat Singh's force, and in this fight, Nirpat Singh is killed. Now, sadly, the history of the so-called freedom struggle, authored by the United Provinces Government of India, is so incompetent that they totally missed this battle and the death of the hero of Rohia, the Indian hero of Rohia, Raja Nirpat Singh. So incompetent is this Indian history of United Provinces, the freedom struggle in 1857, I think 4 or 5 volumes, thoroughly incompetent, as you can see. Now, the end of Raja Nirpat Singh by 2nd Punjab Cavalry, Rohilkhand Horse, Kumaon Levy, Shah Shuja's troop, and 6 and 7 and 8 companies left wing, 42nd Highlanders. Now, in this battle, Raja Nirpat Singh is killed and the force is destroyed. This is the Battle of Melaghat, fought on the 15th January 1859. As you can see, in this action at one stage, 42nd Highlanders faltered, and this was noted by 2nd Punjab Cavalry historian, whose regiment participated very closely with 42nd Highlanders. Part of Lawson's 6th Company, which was initially facing Nirpat Singh, broke the line and was rallied by Rasaidar Haqdad Khan of 2nd Punjab Cavalry, later famous as Sam Browne Cavalry, and now part of the Pakistan Army as 12th Cavalry FF. Now, 2nd Punjab Cavalry regimental historian thus noted, Rasaidar Haqdad Khan here again distinguished himself in partially rallying a company of the 42nd Highlanders who had fallen back on their officer and sergeant having been killed. They lost an officer and a sergeant. Note that this was the 6th Company who had lost their colour, Sergeant Andrew Landels, while the officer referred to by 2nd Punjab Cavalry historian was Captain Lawson, who was severely wounded and not killed. Rasaidar Haqdad Khan, as per 2nd Punjab Cavalry regimental history, also identified 2 soldiers of the same 6th Company who stood their ground, and this was described in the 2nd Punjab Cavalry history in the following words, quote, the Rasaidar also displayed remarkable coolness by riding up under a heavy fire to 2 European soldiers who had stood their ground and asking their names with a view to making their conduct known to their superiors, unquote. Thus, the Victoria Cross citation of Private Cook and Duncan Miller read as below. As you can see, this is the citation. This reads as below: 42nd Regiment, Private Walter Cook and Private Dennis Duncan Miller, acts of bravery on 15 January 1859. In the action at Melaghat on the 15 January 1859, Brigadier General Walpole reports that conduct of Private Cook and Miller deserves to be particularly pointed out. At the time, the fight was severest, and the few men of 42nd Regiment were skirmishing so close to the enemy, who were in great numbers, that some of the men were wounded by sword cuts, and the only officer with the 42nd was carried to the rear severely wounded, and Colour Sergeant was killed. These soldiers went to the front, took a prominent part in directing the company, and displayed a courage, coolness and discipline which was the admiration of all who witnessed it. Such was the love and respect between 2nd Punjab Cavalry and 42nd Highlanders Black Watch that when 2nd Punjab Cavalry commenced its march from Bareilly to Kohat on 1st September 1859, 42nd Highlanders band came and marched them out of Bareilly. 2nd Punjab Cavalry reached Kohat on 26 January 1859, 26 November 1859, where the entire Kohat garrison was ordered out to honor and receive this cavalry regiment, now 12 Cavalry FF Pakistan Army, Sam Browne's cavalry. This was the last major action of Her Majesty's 42nd Highlanders in the battles of 1857-59. The left wing of the battalion marched back to Bareilly in March 1859 and reunited with its right wing already cantoned in Bareilly. The battalion performed outstandingly in the final assault on Lucknow, where the company's superiority was overwhelming and casualties minimum because of massive utilization of artillery in March 1858. In Roya, the battalion was ineptly employed by a phenomenally incompetent commander Walpole and suffered heavy losses. Bareilly was a skirmish where the company's victory was a foregone conclusion. The battalion's left wing was put to the severest test at Melaghat, where its 6th company performed outstandingly. However, this company could not have held Raja Nirpat Singh without the active participation and presence of 2nd Punjab Cavalry, 5th Troop, 1st Brigade of Bengal Horse Artillery, Shah Shuja's Battery, Indian Troop, and parts of Kumaon Levi, now the 2nd Gorkha. Now the Black Watch won its first VC in history when Lieutenant Francis Edward Henry Farquharson was awarded a VC at Lucknow on 9th March 1858 for spiking 2 guns. He was nominated for the award. 4 Victoria Crosses were awarded to Quartermaster Sergeant John Simpson, Lance Corporal Alexander Thompson, Private James Davis, and Private Edward Spence for valor and recovery of wounded at the disastrous Ruya Fort on 15th April 1858. All 3 were nominated for the award. So the battalion got more Victoria Crosses, where the biggest British stupidity was committed at Ruya. Now Colour Sergeant William Gardner was awarded VC at the skirmish at Bareilly on 5th May 1858 for saving the life of his commanding officer Colonel Cameron. He was nominated. The last 2 Victoria Crosses of 1857-59 were awarded to Privates Walter Cook and Duncan Miller at the desperate action of Melaghat on 15 January 1859. The battalion was awarded the highest number of Victoria Crosses awarded to any infantry battalion in the battles of 1857-59. The battalion lost 2 officers, Lieutenant F.J. Bramley and Charles Douglas, at the badly led attack at Ruya, thanks to the highly incompetent Walpole. Tavender named a 3rd officer, Captain Will Wilson, who died of wounds on 19th August 1859. This officer is not mentioned in the regimental history of 42nd Highlanders, and it is possible that Tavender made an error in which he was PhD, as I harshly learnt when I tried to rely on his sometimes misleading and claims and assertions. If we rely on Tavender's casualty figures, which were 32, they are divided as below. Ruya 18, Lucknow March 1858 10, Bareilly 2, Nagra or Melaghat 1, 19th August 1859 1. However, the battalion's history stated that 4 casualties were suffered at Melaghat. 3 persons who, as per Tavender, were killed at Ruya are placed as killed by regimental history at Melaghat. This reduces casualties suffered at Roya to 15. The 33rd man killed, Captain Wilson, appears to be a mistake on Tevender's part. The battalion entered the war when British Company's victory was a foregone conclusion. Hence, its impact on the net outcome of the war was negligible. The battalion was awarded the well-deserved Battle Honour Lucknow. As you can see, the highest casualties were suffered because of Walpole's stupidity at Roya.